Hello, 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 and welcome to today's episode of Her Version, a podcast dedicated to hearing stories of struggle to triumph, a platform that allows individuals to tell their truth in order to inspire and uplift others. I am your host, Sabrina Victoria. If you are new to this podcast, make sure you follow, like, subscribe, and share. Today, we have an amazing guest speaker with us, Tiffany. Looking at Tiffany now, she is a mother of two boys, 11 and 3. And almost 2 years sober. However, it wasn't always so peaceful in her world. When she was 20 years old, she was serving in the military, and a knee injury changed the trajectory of her entire life. Prescribed Loratab as a painkiller, she was unknowingly thrown into the world of addiction. Over the next 11 years, she battled an addiction that had her intertwined in a cycle of prostitution, dancing, needles, and rehab. She is now healing from her past, working on her confidence, and is starting to feel stronger than she ever has. Welcome.
Hi.
Girl, I'm so excited to talk to you.
Sorry, I was trying to turn the fan on. Okay, I apologize for that. I'm thrilled, like beyond excited and nervous. Super.
No need to be nervous. I'm so excited that you decided to take some time out of your day to sit down with me and share your story in hopes that it'll reach people, because your story definitely has so much going on, and definitely can impact and really inspire individuals that are going through the same exact story that you've been through. How are you doing? How are you doing today? How was your week?
Oh, I'm great. Every day is a blessing, because every day sober is a blessing. But my weeks are pretty dang good, and I'm lucky to be alive compared to what I was headed for. Everybody says I should have been dead. The amount of things that I was doing, pretty bad. So I'm pretty happy, pretty blessed.
Yes, 100%. Hey, by the way, how old are you?
34.
You look so young.
Everybody says that. I guess
You do.
I guess I should have. I used to hate it. I really did. Like when I was, 21 and 22, and I'd still get carded for cigarettes, I'd get so mad. I'd be like, oh my God, I so look old enough. And then, now I'm 34 and people card me for a pack of cigarettes. I'm like, yes, you just made my day. But then at times like this, I'm like, man, I wish I didn't look so young. I guess my voice doesn't really help that much either, because I know I sound like a little 10-year-old sometimes. That's just the giddiness, man. I can't help it.
Oh, that's so cute. Well, listen, girl, I'm so excited to have you on here. Thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to chit chat with me and share some of your some of your experiences, some of your stories with us. So you have so much to share just in general, as far as where you are now and all the awesome things that are happening and the brilliance and the confidence that you're walking into at the moment. But what I really like to do when I sit down with women like you is kind of talk about your early years, your childhood, your teenage years, just to kind of give us an idea of like who you were growing up. Do you mind sharing some of that?
Not at all. You're actually going to love this, because so I made a few phone calls this morning to get some brutal, honest answers of the type of child that I was.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because you're in a fog for so long of your life. You don't have that many memories of certain parts of your life, and you think where you were an angel. Nope, you were a little devil, you were a little heathen, you were a little spoiled rotten, all that. But I was also told I was very polite and respectful and a well-mannered girl, and that I was a sweetheart. And let me see, one woman put it specifically, well, when you were good, you were great, you were an angel, you were awesome. But boy, you had them days when you were just downright devilish.
Oh, wow. Isn't that
I was
funny?
a little bit spoiled. I was the last kid of my dad had 4 older kids. And when I say 4 older kids, I mean like there's 23 years between me and his youngest son. So by the time I came along, he had, grandkids already. My nephews were my age and older. My niece, I have a niece that was a couple years older than me. So it was like, and I was by myself with just me and my dad for a lot of the time. So and my dad was a hard worker. I mean, he worked his butt off. He's just one of those last of a dying breed type of men back then. So it was and having a much older father, I kind of had an old soul, grew up with an old soul, so to speak. So it was a good thing, but then again, it was kind of like I would get along with people my age sometimes, and then other times I'd be like, okay, I can't deal with you people. Like, I need to go find some adult to talk to. As a teenager, it was like that. But I mean, I was basically raised like a single child, an only child. So some would say I was spoiled rotten, and some would say I had that right, and being the baby, and others would say I was just a darling. I guess it was just which side of me.
For sure. For sure. 100%. Sorry about that. So what led you to the military? How did that happen? Where did that come into play?
Oh man. Well, I had just divorced my I don't even think you can really call it a divorce because we were literally married from May 17th of the same year. We were divorced on November 19th. So yes, I married right out of high school, my high school sweetheart, and I moved up to Tennessee, and I decided, you know what? I want to make my dad proud. I want to do something that I can be proud of. And things weren't going that well for me in Tennessee. So I decided I was going to up and join the Navy. And I did.
Wow. No kidding.
Mm-mm.
So already before like you're 20 years old, you're married, divorced, and now in the Navy.
Yeah.
Ah!
I mean, you could say like at 20 years old, I was extremely, extremely well versed. I was really well grounded. Like I traveled a lot. I did a lot of things. That was one great, amazing thing that I take away from my childhood and my teenage years is my dad. He, at the same time of protecting me, and I was kind of sheltered from some things in the real world. He was also very, very encouraging for me to see the real world. You get what I'm saying? Like, I mean,
Yeah.
I had traveled to more places and more states and done more things at 20 than most 30, 40-year-old people have done. And
Yeah.
and then I like to travel too. I kind of moved around a lot for a long time.
Where have you been?
Oh, I went to North Carolina, Ohio, Tennessee, Texas. I mean, if you count
Is that to visit
Chicago.
family? Do you have family all over?
I have family in Tennessee and in Georgia, and I had family in North Carolina and in Ohio. Yeah, my family's kind of spread out,
Yeah.
wiggles everywhere.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. My family's actually in North Carolina.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was born and raised in the suburbs of Chicago.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Ah!
It's so cold there, man.
It
I'm
is
not gonna
cold.
lie. I was so thankful that I did my basic training in the summer because I wouldn't have made it in the winter. I don't
So
like
cold.
spoiled with my heat. I like my Florida heat.
Yeah, yeah, same. Yeah, that's where I am is Florida, and I will never move back to a winter state like full time ever. Too cold.
Yeah,
I,
you know
I
what
don't
we
even know
call
how I
that,
did it.
right?
I don't even know why people do it.
I
This is
don't know either. You know what us Florida natives call that, right?
no.
I'm not gonna say it.
Yeah. Okay.
Them dang Yankees, the ones that come down and never go back.
Too funny. So you're 20. Are you around 20 or are you 20 when you enter the Navy?
I was, I, gosh, I can't even do math right now. I think I was right at 20.
Okay.
Pretty sure. Yeah, I had to be right at 20. Because no, I take that back. I think I was 19 actually. Don't
Okay.
think I was 20 yet.
And then what led to the injury, which eventually led you down the path that you ended up?
Well, believe it or not, I did cheerleading and dance and all kinds of stuff throughout my teenage years and pre-adolescent years, whatever you want to call them. But I apparently had what the military or doctors like to call a pre-existing medical condition. It's like, you know how there's pes platus means you're too flat-footed? Well,
Yeah, yeah.
pes cavus is when you have too much of a high arch in your foot, which they did not catch in MEPS. I did just fine in MEPS. I had no problem, got through MEPS and was in basic training and everything and hustling my butt in there. And all of a sudden I started having really bad issues with my knees and my shins and stuff. And my one of my ankles got really bad. And finally, we were practicing for our parade one day, and my senior chief says, like, Alfred, I don't know what you're trying to prove here, but you need to drop and go to medical right now. So I
Because you were
did.
like limping around. Were you limping?
I was just fighting through it. I was not going to break, I was still fighting through it. And when I went into medical and I saw the corpsman, he point blank told me that I should have never been let into the military, that this was a pre-existing medical condition due to the, what do you call it? I don't even like to use that word, deformity of my foot because of having high arches. And he explained it all to me. And he said, basically, you will have to get a knee replacement every 8 years, no matter what, no matter whether you're in the military or not, which I've never done.
Yeah.
Never had a knee replacement. Probably should have. But yeah, I had no clue that was anything. And I was like, dude, I was a cheerleader. I did dance. I did all this stuff. Like, how come it never bothered me then? Like, never bothered me. Not at all.
Wow.
I don't know. Maybe old age caught up to me fast or something. I don't know.
Wow.
But yeah, that was the damage that was done in my leg was just there was no way they were going to be able to keep me. So
Got it. And then what was the process after that? You left right away, or did he prescribe, or how did that work?
No, they prescribed me orthotics, which, just shoe inserts or whatever. And he's like, I'm telling you, I mean, pretty much I tried everything I could because I begged them to just let me try everything I could before they went ahead and gave me an honorable medical separation. So I did everything I could to fight it. And then when it came down to the end, he's like, this is what's going to happen. And whether you stay in or not, you still are going to have enough issues with your legs because of the shape of your feet and with your back that you're going to have a knee replacement every 8 years. And I've never had a knee replacement, but I mean, I was on some pretty high pain meds for a long time. What good they did me.
Yeah, yeah. So this is very interesting to me. I don't want to say I love, but so you were told that your knee, leg, shin, whatever was so useless in a way that they wanted to have you leave. However, you begged to stay.
Yes, I even tried to get a waiver. When I moved back home to Florida with my dad, I was working at a Macaulay's Tavern, and there was a retired Army guy there, and he knew exactly who I needed to talk to get waivers to be able to get a doctor sign off to let me get into another branch, like the Coast Guard or the Reserves or something. No doctor would touch me.
Wow.
Because they kept saying it's a pre-existing medical condition, and basically I was too much of a medical liability.
Yeah.
It's pretty much, they didn't want to pay for knee replacements, I guess. But it just sucks because you have those people in there that don't want to be in there and do everything they can to get out. And then you have people like myself, and I mean, I wasn't the only one that, there, bless her heart, there was another woman there who had MS. And that woman stayed there right up till the day she sat in her wheelchair for the first time because her body gave out on her. Her MS got so bad. And I remember getting on the plane with her to leave. Like, she did everything she could to stay. Like, against her doctor's will and wishes, she did everything she could to stay. She was ready to roll up in there on her wheelchair and keep fighting.
Wow. No kidding. So when did the medication come into play? Back when you came home, or before you left? Or okay.
Yeah. I mean, they gave me stuff while I was in there, but I mean, it continued after I got home.
Got it. So you went to the doctor, and then a doctor prescribed what you said was Lortrope?
Loratabs.
Loratab? Okay.
Yes, Loratabs.
Okay. And did you have any idea what did he say, like, hey, we got to wean you off this in a month or two, or
Oh
were you
no.
given?
No. They told me from the beginning that I was going to have to be on pain medication or get a knee replacement every 8 years for the rest of my life. That's just what I was told. So
Wow. No
young,
kidding.
naive, yeah, I'm thinking, well, I don't want to get my legs surgically operated on every 8 years. So, I mean,
Yeah. So you just willingly took the medicine.
yeah, pretty much.
You
And
did.
uh, then it blew up.
Yeah. What is your thought process on that now? Now that you've been through all of this and so much of your life has kind of been stolen in a way, what is your, do you have an opinion on doctors doing that so whimsically? Like,
Oh boy.
yeah, tell
Honestly,
me what your,
I really do. More so now than I do then because I mean it wasn't it's not every doctor for one, and it's not every situation also. Like I didn't have to go to the extent that I went to. You know what I mean? Like I didn't have to do what I did. I didn't need that much. I did that out of just self-destructiveness. I mean,
yeah.
self uh, lack of self-worth or whatever. I was on a destructive path for quite a long time, and I just found that road and ran right down it. But there are doctors, and this is awesome that you asked me this question because I'm literally dealing with a situation right now where I know a woman who is very close to me, and she's had an opiate pump, pain pump in her body that literally is pumping opiates in her system 24/7. Okay. She has to have a major surgery in a few months, and they weaning her down. She's been on this pump for 12, 13 years, something like that, and high dosages. Her doctor and anybody who's dealt with this type of addiction to this type of narcotic knows what the do's and don'ts of detoxing and withdrawals and taking substitutes like uh, um, what's one, Subutex or Suboxone or methadones. This doctor gave her this pump, okay, of opiates, a massive milligram, and gave her morphine to take on top of it, and she was on a high dosage of Xanax, and gave her the withdrawal medicine. And this is a pain management doctor. These doctors don't care about you. They don't care about your pain. They care about that $5,000 check they get every time you need a refill. And because she's going to be off of that from now on, that doctor actually told her to take all these things at once, to continue taking the withdrawal medicine while she was still taking the opiates and the morphine and the Xanax. And anyone knows those are all massive blood pressure slower, like they slow down your blood pressure, your heart rate. She would have absolutely died in her sleep, not woke up, had I not been there that night. And when she told me what her doctor had her on, I was like, no, stop taking all of them right now and call your other doctor, because that pain management doctor, that they don't care. They
Wow.
absolutely don't care. And so, yeah, I have an opinion about this. They need to go back to, yeah,
Yeah.
it's ugly. And this woman didn't ask for this. I mean, we're talking about a retired detective here who had like massive body injuries and stuff, and served her life on the force and everything, and then is paid back with this.
Wow. Crazy. Could you feel it? Did you get prescribed, you're just like hanging out, right? You have an injury to your knee, you go to the doctor. You're not like, are you thinking to yourself, like, yay, he's going to put me on painkillers? Was that in your head?
Oh
Or
yeah.
did you just
Oh
go
yeah.
in like,
No, yeah, back then, yeah, absolutely. Because I was, I can say this now. I mean, I couldn't then, and it took me a long time to get to the point to where I could admit things to myself. But yeah, I was absolutely thrilled because I just wanted to escape reality. Because And not that I had a bad raising or bad childhood or anything like that. It wasn't that. I had a lot of issues with myself, and it was my escape out. And I was happy about it back then, because it was my way of numbing everything and escaping reality. Like I said, I was on a very self-destructive path. I didn't know what I was doing, where I was going, who I was really. I mean, I took me till I was 34 to finally figure out who I am and who I'm supposed to be.
Yeah, for sure. How long did the doctor prescribe you before you had to kind of go off on your own and find your own stuff?
Not long. Once they caught up to the fact that I was abusing it, that I was taking way more than my prescribed amount, I would say it was not even a year,
Wow.
yeah, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. But yeah, it wasn't very long at all. And trust me, some of those doctors communicate with each other, so it's not easy going to a different doctor, unless you're, of course, back in the pill mill days, which it wasn't quite that bad when I first started with the pill
Yeah.
mill, but still
So
tough.
how did you know? Had you taken pills before? And
I
then
mean, not like that, not
okay.
like and at the time I didn't even know what they were. I mean, I think I had taken like a Valium or a Soma or something, back in high school, not a whole one or anything, like just teenagers partying, having fun or whatever. Yeah, I had done that a couple times, but nothing serious, nothing. I wasn't, nothing addictive like that was.
So you kind of just did it because you're kind of like, this is, you know about it because social, like society just, you just realize stuff like that as far as just living in society. You know that if you get on pain meds, you feel a little loopy and it feels good. You've had
I
a couple experiences in your past and, you hear about it on the streets, friends, movies, shows. So you were kind of just,
Well, I mean, it wasn't really about, like hearing about it, that made me want to do it or anything like that. It was, just I knew what it did to you. I had taken pain medication before. Everybody knows what a trip to the dentist feels like when you get a tooth pulled, and you know what I mean? So, yeah, I mean, when you have that thought in your head and you're like, oh man, I'm kind of buzzing, like, yeah, you're not upset. I wasn't upset that I was put on them, not at all. I was kind of happy at the state of mind I was in. But
yeah,
like I said, that was long before I figured out who I was. And I
yeah.
had a lot going on. I had a lot of growing up to do, a lot of stuff to go through to get me here.
Was there a point? I mean, I know it was a long time ago, but was there a point where you actually thought to yourself, like, whoa, I think that there's like an issue here. Like I wasn't trying to get addicted. I was just trying to feel good. And this is like, did you actually kind of think that for a second while this was happening?
Yes, very
When
much.
did it happen pretty soon on or
Um, oh goodness. Yes, the day I realized, which I mean, in all actuality, I knew it was an issue for a while, but when it really hit me was the day I had to call my oldest son's dad and tell him, I need you to take my little boy for a little while, because I got to get this thing under control. So I knew it was a major issue. I mean, yeah, like, and I had been on it for quite a while at that point, but it was, and when you're in that much of a fog, there are several things, several times that especially someone like who has a conscience and that little voice in the back of their head and was raised right, knows right from wrong and what's a good idea, and not stupid. They're just obviously they don't care. They're just it, that was how I was, because I knew better. I absolutely knew better. I was raised very well. I was taught very much good morals and values and right from wrong and everything, but I was not hearing it. So the day I had to call my son's dad and I had to get him to take his son, our son, my son, for the first time. Yeah,
wow.
because it wasn't because I thought like I I was going to hurt him or anything like that. It was just that I knew how bad my addiction was. And I knew that if I kept him with me until I got a handle on it, I would not be doing what a good mom, a good parent should do. You know, there's that I would be hurting him. He may be upset about it right now because, you know, he's not going to understand having to leave mommy and go to daddy and everything. And I went through that. It was really, really, really tough. It was really hard on him. He had known only me, but it's the first time in my entire life, and I can say this proudly, that I ever put someone else 1000% in front of me, for the simple fact of I knew I couldn't give him what he needed and what he had to have and what a mom's supposed to give him. I mean,
Yeah.
I was on the brink of losing I was on the brink of being without a house, and I couldn't do that
Yeah.
and drag him with me. So
Yeah.
that was
So
probably the
even,
hardest decision I ever had to make. That's for
yeah,
sure.
I can imagine. I can imagine. What it's interesting to me, and I appreciate you being so vulnerable with that, because I think a lot of times, and I can actually sort of relate to this too, because I broke my leg, literally snapped my leg in half in
Oh my
October.
goodness.
Yeah. So you can imagine they put me on pain medicine. And I remember there was a point, I stayed on it for maybe a few weeks, like 3 weeks or
Oh,
so.
it don't take long.
And that's the whole thing. And that's what's so scary about it. My fiance was like, why in the world? Because I was like, I can't be on these anymore. Like I have to not take them anymore, because I could feel my body fiending,
Yep.
like so much so that like it got my body got irritated. And
Yes.
it's hard to explain, because it's like, guy, like, what does irritated mean? And I don't know how to even explain it, but I knew unconsciously, not consciously, I knew unconsciously, because I'm in the sobriety arena. I've been, so I don't know if you know that, but I've actually been sober for 14 years. I used to drink. I never did drugs or anything like that, but I drank, and I was just being a shitty mom. I was a single mom, so I just stopped drinking. Anyways, I'm in the arena. I talk to these people all the time. So I'm aware of it, and I could feel, and what's so interesting, I love that you're saying this, because there's a choice somewhere in there
There
that
is.
you make, and it's so fine. The line is so fine between just one more,
Yes.
right? Just one more, and no. And it's so difficult, because I was literally in pain. Like you're in pain.
Absolutely. You become that fine line you're talking about. Literally, it turns it from I am doing this to get numb and escape, to I am doing this for literally survival, to get through every day, because it's like you go from enjoying being out of whatever or feeling good, or your body feeling better or whatever, to all of a sudden you can't live without it. You are literally, like, when I say I was in a full-blown 100% marriage relationship with this drug. Wow. That drug determined every single move I made. Wow. I mean, it would determine whether I would make it to my son's birthday. It would determine whether I would make it to go see my dad or my family, or it even would let me know if I was going to eat that day, or if I was going to go to the bathroom. And I'm not kidding. It's literally like that drug. It's not just that it irritates your body, like you said. It does. It absolutely does. Your body craves it, but it's also, and I mean, it's not hard to pick up on it. If you got some brains up there, and but a lot of it too is mental, because the physical pain, your brain pretty much becomes addicted to it, I guess, in a sense, and craves it. And so you get this super high anxiety to where you just like, cannot go without it because you are
Yep.
terrified of the
Yep.
pain that you're going to go through, that you know you're going to face. I mean, because trust me, withdrawals from opiates is not a fun experience at all, like
Yeah.
by
I
any
can't
means. So,
imagine.
I mean, literally, that's what it was. It went from, okay, I'm taking these minor pain medications. Okay, my tolerance is too high, so because I've been using them, I've abused them or whatever. So then you get more, and then you get a higher tolerance and a higher tolerance, and then it becomes, okay, I'm not doing this to get, in a fog or have a good time or escape reality or whatever your reason may be. To all of a sudden, your reason for doing this becomes, if I don't, I cannot function in a daily life.
Wow.
I cannot move. I cannot take care of my kids. I can't go to work. I mean, it literally, and then it's just, I'm petrified to get off of them and go through that pain of withdrawal because you know it's going to last. You know the anxiety is going to be there, and that
Yeah.
anxiety is a killer, man. I feel very, very, very sorry for a couple of the people who have seen me and had to deal with me going through that.
Yeah.
It turn into another person when you're
Yeah.
detoxing that anxiety and stuff. It's insane.
Yeah. I know, so I know that, the story as far as, the addiction took you for 11 years. But I'd like, to kind of step into that for a moment and I, I would just like to know, because people, there's a lot of judgment, that there's judgment
Oh,
in the
I
arena.
don't care. Let them judge, man.
As
I'm
far
not
as
worried.
like, how they view, but I'm assuming it's not just you go from the Navy and being like in cheer to all of a
No,
sudden on the street, you
no,
know, giving your
no. It,
body
it,
away.
it progresses. It
Yeah. So
definitely.
can you kind of just, for a few minutes, just kind of walk us through what that progression looked like from like getting them from your doctor to like you decided you needed freaking help because this is insane. What does that look like?
So, huh, okay, it's a jumbled mess for one, because yeah, the things a person will do who's addicted to opiates, or I mean, it may not just be opiates that makes somebody do the things like this or whatever. It may be other stuff, but I became a person, I had no clue. I was, didn't know who I was when I started. I dang sure didn't know who I was when I got where I went. But so it, I mean, yeah, you become addicted to something that you have to, you have to pay for. You have to be able to facilitate every single day. And with every day of you getting it, you have to, your tolerance goes up and it goes up. So you have to get more. And then, street value goes up because doctors won't prescribe them to you anymore. And then you don't get the high from swallowing them or snorting them anymore. So you see what happens when, like, okay, maybe I can, you know, shoot them up, bang them. That's what, people in that world call it. It's intravenous use with a needle or syringe, whatever, however you want to say it. Uh, you start using intravenously to get a better, faster, longer lasting high, cheap, so that way you're not buying 10 pills or whatever compared to 4 or however you're doing it. And it's not cheap. It gets expensive, and then you get to supporting more than yourself's habit and supporting yours habit and someone you become codependent on because you're both addicts and you codepend on each other, and you're there to pretty much what's that word, enable each other and be each other's excuse. So uh I don't know how I even got to that point, but point I was dancing, and I remember telling my dad when I told him about me dancing, like it was really hard for me to tell him that. And believe it or not, I actually didn't start dancing because of pills. I started dancing because I was pregnant and I had a kid and I lost my job because I was bartending, like, and I mean, because I had gotten off the Loratabs when I had Jason. So, like I found out I was pregnant. I was done and everything. And I literally was a bartender at this place in Gainesville. And then I went to work one night and bam, the entire bar's closed. And there's like 3 of us standing out there, like waiting to go into work. And nobody knows my rent's due like in 2 weeks or whatever. So I got paid from this new job. And I just moved in with my brother and my sister-in-law. So I'm like, okay, well, I need to make money fast. So I went to dancing. And then obviously I quit, found something better. But then the pills led me back to dancing. And I told my dad, I was like, well, it's better than, stripping, or that better than prostitution. At least I'll never do that. And he told me, looked me dead in the face and said, never say never, baby. You never know what you might have to do to survive. But my dad was he was that kind of man, he could, it's insane. The intuition
insight.
my dad, it was nuts. But yeah, I mean, dancing became, I can make more money and support myself better and do this. One person offers, you take them up on that offer because you're sick. All you're thinking about is getting what you need, getting your fix right then. And I mean, you will lie to your family, you will lie to your friends, some will steal, and in some cases, you can absolutely 100% say what I did. It was both lying and stealing several times to my family and friends. I would go and say, hey, I need to pay this bill, or I need to get this. And I mean, they're not dummies. I mean, I know that some of them were wanting to believe that I wasn't, lying to them, that I really was using it for certain things. And, but no, I was using it, shooting it right up my arm. And, yeah, I never thought in a million years I would be able to look my own dad in the face and lie to him and know that he knows I'm lying to him in order to get money to support something that I know is disgusting and that I hate. And it getting to that point and not even being able to look myself in the face, and then realizing like, oh my God, I'm out here doing this with all these strangers. Like, I'm becoming somebody I am completely 100% ashamed of. I've done shame my entire family, my friends. I've completely done the opposite of what I wanted to become. Because I told my dad my whole life growing up, like, I want to be someone like you when I get older. I want to be respected and loved and admired. I want to be a success when I grow up. And I got to a point to where I realized, like, I can't even look myself in the face, and I can't even talk to my dad on the phone. I avoided him at all costs. The heartache and the disgust and the shame that I saw in his face was all it took. Because I never thought in a million years that I would actually see shame in my dad's face by me. And all I ever wanted to do was make him proud. But no, I didn't. I screwed it up. But that man, I mean, yeah, I shamed a lot of my family, and I embarrassed them, and I did them wrong. And they didn't understand then, and it's not for them to understand. It wasn't, they did nothing wrong. I I am a grown girl, a big girl, grown woman, however you want to put it. I can admit now, you know, yeah, I screwed up big time, and it will cause you to do that. I mean, when you don't even want to look at your child, you don't want to go out with your kid, you don't want to see your family, your friends, you literally like disappear from everybody because you don't want to have to lie to them, but you're dang sure not going to tell them the truth, of what you're doing. And then whenever you actually have some of your siblings coming up to you and saying, hey, a coworker of mine said that they saw you on this website. Is this true?
Wow.
And you realize how much you just shamed your own sibling or relative, and how embarrassed they must be, it's like, yeah.
Yeah. Were you ever scared at any point?
Scared of what? I was scared every day. um yes, I mean, it's constant fear. I mean, I was constantly afraid that um that my addiction would not let me be there if something happened to my dad, or my addiction would not ever uh, let me be there for my oldest son, or my addiction was going to cause me to really lose my 3-year-old also, which he wasn't 3 at the time, like, or that I'd end up dead somewhere, or I mean, in all honesty, I was on a path to self-destruction. It got so bad at 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 the very end. I was so disgusted with who I was, and so just done with everything, and what I had become, that I I did everything I could to just make it worse, in a sense. I mean, it's almost like you think, okay, well, it's never going to get better, so screw it. I'll just go ahead and speed up the process and get it all over with. But and then there's that day when, like, something, a complete total stranger who doesn't really know much about you just looks at you and they're like, this is not the life you should be living. This is not you. Like, and it clicked, and I realized how much power I'd given a little tiny, tiny, tiny white pill, and how much I was wanting to figure out who I was, because I mean, I was so confused at such a young age. I had so much heaviness on me that all I did was go backwards instead of forwards. And I ended up doing one of the absolute things I had wanted so long to not do. Like, growing up, I like, my brothers and my sister on my dad's side, they didn't live with me because, they were all older and everything. All I ever wanted to do was impress them, and you know, uh, make them proud of me, and proud to call me their little sister and everything. Because, things were different. You got older siblings, younger siblings. You kind of looked at things a little different, like, oh, you're like a grandkid or whatever. And, well, I wanted to be seen, as their sibling. And instead of me doing that, instead of me, making them proud and gaining their approval, and not necessarily approval, but you know what I mean, making them want to say, yeah, that's my little sister, all I did was do the opposite. So yeah, try extra hard now to, prove myself. But it's not even about that so much anymore. It's about, I actually really feel like now I am definitely the woman my daddy wanted me to be.
Oh,
And it's actually really hard for me to say because I constantly doubt myself, but like, I get constant confirmations now lately, and reminders and stuff. And I mean, it's everything's going so good, and the Omi's like sitting there waiting for the sky to fall out, like, no, this isn't supposed to happen. Like, something bad's gonna happen. But it's like I told you on the phone, like, talking to you was a blessing in that group. It was just like, it was like, I mean, when my daddy literally passed away exactly 1 month and a week after I had been sober. I had only been sober from an 11-year addiction for 1 month and 1 week when my whole world passed away.
wow.
So, yeah, a lot of people said if she can make it through this and stay sober, then she's really serious this time.
Wow.
Well, almost 2 years later, here we go.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
I have to keep myself promising, and focusing on the fact that I I I wasn't able to make my dad proud the way I wanted to while he was here. So I flat refused to, not do it, before I go, and before, I mean, since he's up there, he can help me. He can guide me still and everything. And I'm not gonna, like you said, I'm not gonna let any of this be in vain. It's I was meant to go through that for a reason, but
What was the turning point? How did this all come to be? You kind of mentioned a person said something. Was that?
Yep. It was it's crazy because like it gives me goosebumps, talking about it and stuff. Like God works in some crazy, crazy, crazy ways because it's incredible actually because you don't realize this until you're actually like further along, just exactly how perfect a path is drawn out and how every experience and every introduction with someone has some type of impact on your life or was meant for, and you may not realize it then. Just like I had no idea that the person that told me that was, I mean, it took that person, not the fact of who he was, but the fact of who he wasn't, if that makes sense. He wasn't just a family member or a friend, or you get what I'm saying? He was somebody that it resonated, like it sunk, it hit me. Because other people had told me before, yeah, you're better than that. But then again, at the same time, the negative stuff uh, is always easier to believe than the positive stuff for some reason. I don't
Yeah.
understand why that is with people, but it is. It really, really is. So when for so many years, I'd have once in a blue moon, somebody would say something like, you're better than that. But then you'd have 10 other people say, oh yeah, you're not going to be anything, you're just worthless, just like blah, blah, blah. And, put you down as much as they can. And it, for some reason that one specific thing just hit that one person, and the fact that it happened the way that it did, because had he not come along and that said that to me at that time, I would not have been able to see my daddy before he passed away. I would not have been able to start my sobriety before he actually passed away. I would not have been able to see him on his birthday, which was exactly 1 week before he passed away, and give him a hug and a kiss, because I would have been off trying to facilitate my habit. I would have been trying
Wow.
to high, and see what I'm saying? Like it's ooh, it
Wow.
literally gives me goosebumps and chills. And that person was exactly the, how to say it, the forceful no that I needed. I mean, because moms are great, aunts are great, uncles are great, but I learned at a very young age, and I hate to say this, but I admit I learned at a very young age how to manipulate.
Mhm.
I'm sorry.
Mhm.
And yes, so you know, my mom wanted to stay with me through my detox. Oh, it was nothing but a cinch. If I really wanted to go get something during my detox, I could make it happen, not a problem. And it's not her fault. I did it. I knew what I was doing. I knew what I was capable of doing.
Yeah.
This person was sent to me specifically because it didn't matter how many lampshades I threw at him, how many times I cussed at him, how many times I hit him. It did not matter. He said no. And he point blank, not only did he tell me I was worth better than that, he made me. I mean, he would not give in to me, and he yeah, I had met my match when it comes to Tiffany's negotiating skills and manipulation skills of, okay, I'm really sick, dude. Like, I really need to go, no, I don't care. You can be sick. You can hit me. You can do whatever. I don't care. I'm not doing it. And yeah, it was hard, but every second was more and more worth it. And to be able to give my dad a kiss on his cheek on his birthday, stone cold sober, was probably the greatest ever. Even if my
Wow.
daddy didn't really know exactly who it was at the time, because by that time he was on his way.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Wow.
it's like I would not have, none of that would have happened. I wouldn't have, I mean, to be honest, I probably wouldn't even be here right now. And not saying that he did it all. No, no, he just, God put him in my life to, you know, everybody has a purpose and an effect on everybody throughout life. And you don't know why or how until you're further along. And then it's like I look back and I'm like, oh my goodness, I get excited about it. I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. I see where this is going. It's just like you get confirmations and stuff. It's awesome. I mean, not to mention, like, me and my brother that hadn't spoken for 20 years. Yes, we're on speaking terms. Yes, we are.
Wow.
My family that had, 100% understandable, hadn't corresponded with or talked to very much at all in 10 years or better, or, maybe a little less, a little more, conversing. Like,
Wow.
it's incredible. But, God works in mysterious ways.
Yeah. Speaking of family, how are your children handling everything?
Well, my 3-year-old, he's the boss of the house, so he doesn't really I don't really think he's ever been affected by it, because I mean, he was really little when everything was ending, so hopefully I escaped that. But my 11-year-old, there's still a lot of work to do, but I mean, it's getting there. We have some other issues, obstacles to deal with that's not on any way, shape, or form me and him level. And understand, he's very aware of what mommy did. He's very aware. I mean, he's more aware of certain things than he should be at his age, but that's okay. I'm not going to lie to him. I don't lie to him. And we're working through that. I mean, it's good. It's great. I'm tickled pink to be able to actually get him some really amazing actual birthday gifts and Christmas gifts. And, because I can, not spending my money on drugs, I can get him something that he deserves or that he loves. But emotionally, I mean, I did damage, but I would have done more damage had I dragged him through it by my side.
Yeah.
And I mean, even though he did some people probably won't get it and some people probably will, because I can see both sides, where some people would probably think, oh, she did that so that way she could have her freedom. And then I could see where some people would be like, no, she obviously saw that she was headed down and did not know what was going to happen, or, knew that she needed help and was open. And to be honest with you, at that point in time, I only thought about him. That was all I cared about. Was I can't let anything happen to him, and I cannot take care of him. I'm not going to be able to give him what he needs until I get sober. I've got to, and I was on a mission. One of the many times I was on a mission to get sober. So once he got a little bit older and he started understanding, and he still doesn't fully understand, but once he started finding out a little bit more about the addiction and everything, and started having to deal with the mommy in and out thing, because I mean, it literally controls every aspect of your life. And like I was telling you before, but we're better now than what we were, excuse me, 2 years ago. But he still has a lot of animosity towards me, which is understandable. Does that make sense? Like, but
Yeah.
he doesn't want to. He doesn't want to be angry at me, but he has a right to be, get frustrated with me. So he's working on letting that out. But I mean, we have a pretty good relationship otherwise. He's still my heart and soul, and that's my everything. That is my miracle child.
Yeah, definitely. Do you have any regrets or anything that you would have changed?
Well, I'm sure I would go back and change a lot of things, to be honest. But then I wouldn't be where I am now. So,
Crazy how that works, huh?
it is. It's nuts. So, for myself, no, I don't. I don't have any. I'm glad that I went through the things that I went through, because it made me a better person. It made me want to become better than what I thought I was gonna be. If that makes, like, I'm not at all bragging, but I'm, when I started going through this recovery and everything, it totally turned into something completely different. It wasn't just recovery anymore. It was growing as a person, and finally finding out who I am and where I belong, and what my heart and soul really is and the kind of person and everything. But as far as regrets, the only thing I regret is the pain that I caused other people. I don't regret what I did or what I went through myself, because like I said, it's what built me. But I regret hurting, especially the ones that I never thought in a million years I'd hurt.
Yeah. I totally understand that. There's so many individuals who have gone through what you went through, or who are in that circumstance at the moment, and that have gone through rehab after rehab after rehab after rehab. What are some of the things that you do? What are the things you think about? Is there any like daily or weekly things that you do to stay on the right track?
Honestly, I wish I could say that there was a prescribed instruction booklet out there for each individual person, because that's what we all need as far as when it comes to recovery. Because some people the AA thing works, some people the rehab works, some people of throwing themselves into a spiritual or religious belief, anything, putting anything above where you have that drug or of choice or whatever, because you have that on a pedestal. Anything you put above that is a step forward, obviously a step upward. But for doing things daily, because I'm not the rehab kind. I can't do it. I don't know if you want to blame that on me being Sagittarius, or blame that on me being a spoiled, rotten little kid when I was younger, or blame it on my daddy traveling with me a lot growing up. I cannot stand confinement. I cannot stand it. So, yeah, I'm not one to be a rehab. I tried it. It didn't work for me. Honestly, for me, it's actually seeing other people, tell their stories, and it's seeing the smile on my little boy's face every morning, and knowing that I'm right here with him, that I got you. And it's waking up every day and looking at the picture of my dad and the picture of my mom and my aunt, and it's being able to look down at my arms and know that, oh my goodness, all my scars and track marks are all gone. It's being able to call up my nephew and tell him, dude, I didn't gain just 10 pounds. I gained 30 pounds, man. And I'm excited about it. You wouldn't think a woman would be excited about gaining weight, but man, you just don't know.
Wow.
It's all of those things, and it's the prospect of being able to attend family functions and being a part of your family, a part of my family again. Family is extremely important to me and has always been. So it's like that's honestly probably my recovery strength. That's what keeps me going, is the I let them down before. I let myself down. I'm not gonna do it again. I mean, my dad used to always say, if you screw up once, all right, but if you screw up twice, no.
Yep. 100%. What are you most proud of?
Oh man, most proud of? A lot of things to be proud of, though. Honestly, I can't say a specific thing other than I'm extremely proud that I have been able to tell the truth and own my responsibilities, or take responsibility for my screw ups, and I have been able to accept who I was and admit who I was and own it. And I'm really proud that I mean, an example that I point blank can tell you, yes, I lied and I was wrong. And I mean, that's it doesn't come easy, being able to openly admit that to people that, you were 100% in the wrong, and know that, you know, for someone like me, I should say, with, all the time, all the years of just wanting to, I can't tell anybody I'm still addicted. I'm trying to, I'd be trying to convince everybody I was clean and I was still using. And now I can look at them and say, no, I was lying. And you know what I mean? That's probably what I'm most proud of, is coming into myself enough and growing enough to be able to see and know that I was wrong and tell them I'm sorry. And, I'm not that person anymore, but so, yeah, that's probably it.
I love that. And I think that would probably hold true for a lot of people when you can finally be absolutely vulnerable and truthful about who you are and what your thoughts are and your feelings and your emotions. It's not only like super healthy as far as building relationships, but it's super healthy for building your own self-confidence.
Yes.
Yeah, because there's absolutely nothing that can tear you down when you are being 100% authentic as to who you are as a human being. And not that you don't want to apologize to people if you hurt them, but being unapologetic to the fact that you did what you did.
Exactly.
Sure, you did what you did, but you did what you did.
Yes.
And not feeling like that has to be hidden anymore. It's such a great feeling.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes.
Yeah.
Like, being able to, and it's funny too, because like for so long I would think that I was fooling certain members of my family, and I wasn't at all. They were just sugarcoat glassing it for me, or whatever you want to call it, like, okay, whatever, I hear you, but now it's like, it feels good to be able to look them in the face and say, no, don't make excuses for me. There was no reason for me to be this way to you or to this person or do this. Stop doing that. Like, let me own it. I'm good. Okay. I am proud to say that. I mean, it's a new feeling. It's great.
Yeah. Yeah. And I can feel that vibrating off of you so strongly. And I'm so proud of you.
Yeah, I might be a little too giddy these days. It's all good though. I'm excited. I'm tickled pink. Yay.
I love that. What are your plans? What do you have going on the next few years?
Oh my goodness, don't rush it. No, honestly, I don't know. There's so much stuff that I want to do, but obviously with this, like I mean, I want to write a book. I want to, I really, really, really do. Because I mean, just a little bit we talked about it is not even, I mean, that doesn't even scratch the surface of the nitty gritty. And I'm fine with that. 100% fine with laying it all out there, because there's tons of girls who I know, and not just girls, guys too, but there's tons of girls who I know and knew for those 11 years that I was in that place, that are still there and have every potential to get out, and if they want to, and some of them might be scared, some of them might be there for life. I don't know, everybody's a different person, but I want to be able to at least make an impact, because it's crazy, like, it's nuts to say this, but it's so awesome. So my nephew gave me this tattoo that goes across my shoulders a few years ago. I was still an addict. It was one of the many times I was trying to quit, but it says I was given this life because I'm strong enough to live it. Well, I had that put specifically on my shoulders because I had always felt like I had the weight of the world on my shoulders, and I was trying, kind of reminding myself that. Well, now it completely resonates with me, totally different, because I feel like, okay, I went through this life because I was strong enough to get through it, because I'm supposed to help the ones who aren't able to, or who need a helping hand.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? And it's
Yeah.
it's not at all what I saw myself doing with my future. If you'd asked me when I was 16, I'd say I'm gonna be married with a family and have a music career. What about you? But now it's like, no, God had a totally, totally different plan for me, and I'm totally fine with it. I like his idea a lot better. I do. It's crazy. Like, I never thought I'd get this excited about this, but I see other people, like, I see them, just in stores anywhere, on the street walking, and you know what they're doing, you know what they're on, and it's like, oh my gosh, if somebody would just, maybe they just need somebody to hear, maybe they need to hear and see that somebody else has done it. And because I promise, if I did it, anybody can do it.
Yeah.
Definitely. But yeah, I want to do outreach ministries. I would like to, go to rehabs, talk to some of the girls and guys going in and out of there, because they're sure it's not going to be their first or last trip. And I hope it is. But I want to show other people that there is a life outside of addiction. And, as long as you believe in yourself that you're worth it, that you're worth it.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. 100%.
Yeah.
How do you feel, or I guess, how do you choose to show up for your world now? Lots of energy.
Every morning, man. Coffee. You mean, can you be a little more specific?
So people can show up as a victim.
Oh,
You
no.
Positive.
That would have been me on the crap. I was a victim. No. I am not a victim whatsoever. I don't ever want to be treated like a victim, because I don't want anybody to have pity on me, because I don't have pity on myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't need other people's pity. I am a much stronger person, and I am very proud of that. So no, I don't consider myself a victim. I consider myself, and silly as this may sound to some, I'm pretty proud of it. I consider myself a warrior, somebody who fought their way through some of the darkest crap that you can go through in a lifetime. And look at me. I'm not a victim. Heck no, I'm standing on my 2 feet just fine and happy. So, yeah, if I can put out positivity and strength and in reality too. The more you look at yourself as a victim in those situations, you're going to act like a victim. You're going to treat yourself like a victim. You're going to give yourself excuses. Not saying that there's not, there's a different definition for victim in certain issues, I guess. Comes a point when, okay, this happened as a child, or I didn't have this happen, or you know what I mean? So I'm going to use this as an excuse for the rest of my life to, no, I'm sorry. Put your big girl panties on and let's go, and, stand up, walk it off. It's pretty much what my dad would have said. Stand up and walk it off, girl. You got it. So, no, I want to be able to portray the strength out there that I know I have. It took me a long time to find.
Yeah.
Very long time. It wasn't easy, that's for sure, but it was worth it.
Yeah. What would you say to a 25-year-old woman right now who's struggling with addiction?
There's so much that I could say, but you are worth absolutely everything that you think you're not.
Wow.
Because I didn't think I would have needed to hear something like that at 25, because you get to a point thinking that, I don't deserve happiness, or I don't deserve a good life. Nothing good ever happens to me, because you get on this constant spiral down, and you just start thinking you're not worth it. But no, you're worth everything you think you're not worth. You're worth it.
Yeah. That's awesome. How do you feel as far as people reaching out to you if your story resonates with them? Are you okay with people reaching out to you?
Absolutely. It was like, I get excited about the idea of helping anybody and being there for other people. Like just it it it's like a goosebumpy, exciting feeling to know that, yes, 100% is my whole goal. I
That's
just want to
awesome.
help.
That's awesome. Where can they reach out to you? Is it Facebook, Insta? Where would you
Yeah,
appreciate
I mean,
somebody?
Facebook is 100% fine. Absolutely.
Mhm.
I do have a Twitter account now. However, I'm not gonna lie, I like my politics. That's pretty much what I follow is politics and music on that thing. But Facebook, yeah, I would anybody wants to reach out to me. I think my phone number and my email address is listed on there. If not, I can make both of them available. Which I'm old fashioned in a sense. I like face to face stuff. This
Yeah.
is kind of face to face. New age technology face to face. My boyfriend's mom asked me, she's like, you can open an account online, right? I'm like, online? No, I'm going to open a bank account to the bank. I don't want to do that over the phone. I want to
You're
talk to
funny.
a person. So yeah, and obviously I love talking. So, but
That's awesome. Is your boyfriend sober?
yes,
Wow, no kidding.
yes, he
Good
is.
for you. I found me a sober man too.
Yeah, they're hard to come by.
Yeah.
He put up with a lot though. I mean, I kind of punched him a few times, kind of threw some lamps at him.
Hey, you're learning though, right? You're developing into a new person and you're trying to figure everything out.
Oh yeah, I pitched a royal fit. Said I was not gonna go into the doctor. I
Yeah.
wanted to go, and he was the no man. He was the one that stood and said, "No, you're not. You're worth better." So
Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you
yeah.
so much for hanging out. This was so insightful. I appreciate you, taking some time out of your day and sharing a snippet of your past and and who you are now. I know that this is going to be inspiring so many people. Do you have any closing thoughts or closing words before I close up here?
Um, just to it's you're never at the top. It's you're still gonna rise. Okay, you can always stand up and walk it off.
Yeah,
Sort of.
that's what Daddy would have said.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm always have been, always will be a daddy's girl. I did that man has said so many things that I never thought in a million years I would be saying at my age. I'd laugh at him for, oh my goodness. But now it's like, no, man, that stuff's real. It's real. I mean, just believe in yourself and
I love
treat
that.
how you want to be treated. That's one thing I cannot stand.
Yeah. For
Yes.
sure. For sure. I love that. Thank you so much, Tiffany, for taking some time and hanging out with me. Uh, for those of you listening here live and for those of you listening on replay, thank you so much for joining us here on Her Version. If you have an amazing story to share of struggle to triumph, be sure to reach out to me here or at herversion.life. I am your host, Sabrina Victoria, and I am so grateful to be here sharing a platform with Tiffany that allows people to share their truth and inspire others. Have an amazing day. Much love.
Bye.